All right, on today's episode of Good Times Rolling, it's going to be one that I think you're really going to enjoy. We've got Virginia Sergas, our dietitian and nutritionist. We're going to have a chat with her as well, and she's going to give you some tricks and tips on what to eat, what to drink, either leading up to the event or on the event as well. There's also going to be a code as well for pure nutrition. I'm going to give you a little heads up here. It's CAPE, number 2, CAPE, pure. But that's going to come up on the screen a little bit later as well. We're also going to talk to Sarah Tucknott, who has just become third in the country as well at the cross-country marathon mountain bike championships as well. We're going to go through the ups and downs of what she's been through since 2020 till now as well to get herself back to the top of the tree as well. And we're really proud of Sarah. And then we're also at the end going to have a chat to Bill Hayes as well, one of the owners of Cape to Cape. He's got some new initiatives coming up as well, which I think you're going to find really, really interesting for the whole family, and just a little bit update on how the event's going. But sit back, relax, and let the good times roll. Hi, Virginia. How are you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Very good. It's great to have you here because we want to unpack a lot of things such as your nutrition, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink with Cape to Cape as well. But we also want to touch on what you've got coming up as well, because you're a good athlete yourself as well. So we'll get started with what you've got coming up this year.
Yep.
Obviously the Cape to Cape, but before that you've got some big goals.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to qualify for the Exterra World Champ. So I did the race down in Dansborough in April, and so heading towards in Italy on the Dolomites in 4 weeks' time.
And just to explain to everyone what the Exterra Worlds are,
Yep.
we've got Sarah Tucknott coming up soon as well, and she's done the Worlds as well. So there's a few coming that are coming from WA and have done it before. So what's involved?
Yeah, so it's off-road triathlon. So swim, bike, run. Swimming in the lake, it's 1.5K, and then we ride, so mountain biking up the Dolomites. So that's a 32-kilometer loop, and then just our off-road, so trail running, and that's a 10K.
It's going to be interesting going around the Dolomites, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Coming from WA. How do you train specifically for something like that to get used to the proper mountains?
Yeah, so it's 1,000 meters elevation over the 32 kilometers, so it's quite a lot, and it's definitely a little bit challenging to get that elevation here, especially in Perth, especially in in 30 kilometers. So I usually go for longer rides, things like dwelling up and stuff like that. I go down to the Waterous Loop, that's a 60 kilometers loop, and that gives me about 1,000 kilometers. Otherwise, a lot of hills repeat.
And your accent, you come from somewhere near where the Worlds are going to be?
Yeah, so I'm Italian. I come from not so far from Venice, so it's kind of 3 hours from the Dolomites.
Yeah, it's a nice part. And how old were you when you moved across to WA?
It's been 12 years. Yeah. So
yeah, big difference. A big difference, isn't it?
Super different, but love it here.
And how do you move? I suppose we'll touch on how this links up with the Cape to Cape soon, but you're from a triathlon background, and then you moved to an off-road background. Was that a big step?
It was. So, triathlon for quite a lot of years. Enjoyed it, loved it, did a lot of races, and then my partner was into mountain biking. And so it kind of got me a little bit into it, and I have to say I didn't like it at the start at all. I found it that I just wanted a straight line, a straight road, and just go on my TT. So it took me quite a while to actually get into mountain biking and off-road. And then once I started to enjoy it and stuff like that, I did my first off-road, so an adventure race down in Augusta when they were still doing the Anaconda down there. And that's pretty much when I really started to really enjoy my mountain biking and stuff, and that's how I got into it. And then some off-road triathlon. Unfortunately here in Perth we don't have many, and then just to get more into the mountain bike and started doing some mountain bike races and stuff like that, and that's how then I kind of made the jump. But it did take me about maybe 2 or 3 years to really go from road to just off-road. So now I only do off-road.
Yeah, it's funny from where I sit behind a microphone, it's really easy to see the triathletes that are coming onto off-road, onto mountain bike as well. It's quite obvious as well.
Yeah.
I have this big goal to get more women into mountain biking and off-road sports in general. What is it that holds women back, do you think?
Yeah. So I think mountain biking is a little bit daunting. for women's. Yes, the terrain, the difficulty, but also they're just scared, I think, of being on the trails and maybe being like slow and like hold people up at the back. And, it's not like a triathlon on a road where you got a little bit more space to take over. If you got somebody behind, they can just pass and that's it. I think it's a little bit of a fear of being slow, and that's a bit dangerous with, some of the parts might be a little bit more technical, and just really building that confidence, I think it's what hold them back. So yeah, unfortunately, I'd love to see like more women's into mountain biking.
Yeah, because I think also what happens with triathlon, you see it a lot with road running, you're chasing numbers, right? You either got, you got your power output,
Yeah.
or you've got, what your heart rate's at. And with mountain biking and off-road trail running, you got to put that away, really.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
just chase, chase
Yeah,
those numbers.
yeah.
I see a lot of people getting themselves into trouble doing that. It's about
Yeah.
getting out there and enjoying yourself, first of all, and
Absolutely,
enjoying the
yeah.
nature. Because if we look at off-road running, we're about 50-50 now with
Yeah.
women. It'd be fantastic to get mountain biking
Yep.
to that level, because I think it's very attainable, especially when we've got, it's things like the Cape to Cape right in our backyard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I actually got invited by Bill to do the women's only mountain bike clinic that they did now in Dunsborough in preparation for the Cape to Cape, and there was like women's only, and it was fantastic. Like they had a good turnout. We were about like 20 the women's, and you can see how over those 2 days they really like gained some confidence, and they loved it and they enjoying being outdoor. But yeah, I think then putting that into, like a race or something like that, where there is mixed women's and men, that a bit of like, that's very daunting. But yeah, definitely that clinic was fantastic, and see how much confidence they gained just in 2 days. That was really good.
Yeah. And how important is a proper bike fit as well for women? Because I know my wife, it can be it's been uncomfortable for her and things like that as well. I think that's pretty particular to get that done.
It is. It's definitely important, especially if you're doing like something like Cape to Cape, that you will be on your bike for quite a long time and for 4 days in a row. You really want to make sure to have like a good bike fit, a bike then fits you, that you got your saddle in the right position and everything. It's kind of like fit for you, because that definitely can ruin your race and your experience. And if you start to be sore, then very hard to back it up on the day after. Yeah, so extremely important. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's as important as your training. I think it's important as your nutrition as well. And obviously, you've got Pure Nutrition next to you as well, which is the Cape to Cape nutrition partner.
Yep.
And you, that's your background and your expertise is nutrition. So I want to sort of touch on now what you think people should be doing. I want to start with the training as well, because a lot of people think about their nutrition for the race day or the day before, but they don't think about how it can help training leading up to the event.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably like one of the main mistakes that I see, like people thinking I'm just going for a training ride with friends or whatever, and not really thinking about their nutrition. They might think the nutrition is only for race day, and that's definitely like something that I would totally encourage you to do. If you're going out and you start training, whether it's like an hour or more than an hour, definitely taking some nutrition, and that should also be like a good practice for then getting to the race. So we know the golden rule, nothing new on race day, so practice in training what you're going to do in then on race day. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it can be quite confusing for a lot of people as well, because everyone's talking about, you've got to have 40 grams of carbs, you've got to have this much of protein, you've got to have, now it's all changing, you've got to get as many carbs into your body as you possibly can, is this sort of new goal as well. So where do people start, and how do they work out? You got to let's just think that no one knows anything about nutrition, and they go, okay, I'm going to need to start somewhere. Where do they start?
Yeah, definitely. So it's quite personal, so I'm not going to go into like any details of like numbers and stuff like that, especially for people that might not be familiar with that, but I'm just going to give some like general recommendation that's still very effective. So we do have in here like different products that I'm kind of like going to show you, and I'm going to use it as an example, but the rule of thumb is when you train, it's between 30 and 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. And there, as you can see, it's like a big range, 30 to 90. So where do I sit in there? So if you are new to sports nutrition, and there might be like the first time that you try like gels or sports powder or anything like that, for somebody that is new, I will always recommend starting on the low end. So we started with like 30, 40 grams. Go out, go for training, see how you go, try it out, and then from there, then we start to like build up a bit. So if you're tolerating 30, 40 per hours, then we bump it up a little bit. And it's really finding that like good balance, let's say, between having a lot of energy so that you can keep going, you've got enough food in your system to get you the fuel, and without having any gut issues. Because of course, once you started to really increase the carbohydrate per hours, that's when, if you're not tolerating, you might go, you just experience some gut issue, maybe. So yeah, starting from a low 30, 40 per hour, and then like build up from
I think
there.
we've got Sarah in the background as well. You probably have had to deal with this over the years. Yell out. Yeah, she's sitting there waiting to come in as well, Sarah Tucknott. So yeah, it's definitely a trial and error type of thing, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Trial and error, see what works for you. Then there are other things that kind of like dictate how much carbohydrate you would have in an hour. So definitely like the intensity of the exercise. So you need to think and ask yourself, okay, how am I going to race this race? Am I going to go full gas, all out? Maybe you've done it already like a couple of times. You want to beat your past PB or anything like that. So you know that you're going to go quite high. Your heart rate is going to be quite high. You would definitely need more per hour. If you think, oh, it's just like a ride, I'm just going to go with friends and enjoy it, and my only goal is to finish, you might not need as many grams per hour.
And how do people know how many grams are in that they're putting down their
definitely.
mouth?
So I'm just going to use a few examples. So here we have, all right, so
I'm not sure where we'll just go to this camera here, I think, and this one here. Yep. Let's go there.
So these ones are just like, these ones are gels. These are actually what we call like fluid gels. I don't have any on the normal gel in here, but Pure does two types of gel. Normal gel and fluid gel. So the only difference in between the two is the consistency. Fluid, they are more fluid, okay? So they are designed to be eaten even if you don't have any water. So they are very easy to just swallow. Whereas the other gels, they are just a little bit more, they are thicker, and you definitely would need some water with that. In terms of grams, they all have 30 grams in there. And you can find that I'm actually wrong. Yes, 25. 25. So it's always going to be written at the back of the packet, okay? Some gels have it on the front, but you're definitely going to find it at the back. So those ones are actually like 25 grams. Then we've got something slightly different. So this one over here is a powder. So it comes in sachet, and it combines carbohydrates with electrolytes. So it kind of like 2 in 1. Carbohydrates for your energy, your electrolytes to replace like the sodium and the sweat and the fluid that you're losing. So 2 in 1. Same again, reading the package at the back. This one will have actually almost 40. So about 38 grams. So a little bit more.
And on that, it'll tell you how much water to have with that.
Yeah, usually there's always like a recommendation of, it's usually like about 500 mils or 600 mils. So kind of like a standard drinking bottle that you would have. But they will always have the recommendation at the back.
Because I think that's really important, because I've got myself in a lot of strife doing long runs by just having too much electrolytes and not enough, and too many gels and not enough water as well.
Yeah.
So I think what you touched on there about some of them need water with them is really important, because you can overdo it as well, and you still need to have water.
Yeah, absolutely. So normally what I suggest is really to have some water with you, some electrolyte with you, and then whatever gel you kind of like decided to go with. So having those 3 so that you can kind of then quantify, okay, I'm having 1 or 2 gels per hour, and then I'm having my electrolytes, and then I'm having some water. So just water won't be enough, so you always want some electrolytes with that. I like to have some water on the side just for more like breaking down the taste. Because of course, if you think about the gels, they are sweet. The electrolytes, they will be fairly sweet. So you might get a little bit of what we call like flavor fatigue. So I like always to have like a little bit of water on the side just to kind of like rinsing up a bit and breaking down that flavor.
I had a mate of mine, and turn away if you are getting queasy here. We did the that Hurdy's like last man standing or last person standing. So it's every hour. You've got to, for those that don't know, every hour you've got to do 6.7 kilometres. And he did 25 hours, and in 25 hours he had 26 gels and only electrolytes. And he said to me, he came out of the toilet, I don't know why, he'd weed in this glass, and he goes, "Do you think I have a problem?" And it was literally like Guinness.
Oh, wow.
And I go, "How much water you been drinking?" And he goes, "I haven't drank any water." And I go, "Mate." Anyway, cut a long story short, ended up in hospital, 15 litres on the drip.
Oh, wow.
As well. So he basically cooked himself, this is what I'm saying, by not having just, all he had was gels and electrolytes, just not enough water.
Yeah, so, I mean, the guidelines are pretty much like between 450 and 750 mils of fluid per hour to cover like their hydration. Then in this, like between 450 and 750, you also want to make sure that you've got about 500 milligrams of sodium. So then it's up to you what you decide to do with the electrolyte. So those electrolytes will have, it has 300 milligrams, so a little bit less than the recommendation. So then it's up to you what you decided to do. Do you just want to put this in a separate bottle and know that you have your 500, 600 milligrams of water in there with the electrolytes and then water on the side? As long as you then drink between 450 and 700 ml per hour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Keep it simple,
Keep
I
it
reckon.
simple,
I
yeah.
reckon it's like if you've got room on your bike for 2 bidons or 2 bottles, whatever you want, then just keep, otherwise it just gets confusing, and especially when you get tired as well.
Yeah, definitely if you have space for 2 bottles in the bike, I will always say get one with your electrolytes and carbs if you decided to go with a powder one, and then one of the bottle just with water.
So just to confirm, you can get powder with electrolytes and carbs in the same powder.
Yeah. In the last few years, there has been quite like a lot of brands now do electrolytes and carbs together. If you just want electrolytes, you might have to just buy like tablets, like electrolytes tablets and stuff like that. A lot of the sports nutrition now do electrolytes and carbohydrates together.
Yeah, make it easy.
Okay. Yeah. So
and what about solid foods as well? Like a lot of people listening to this or watching this will be, they're not up the pointy end like Sarah's going to be, or you're going to be in the World Champs. So they can get solid food in as well.
Yeah, like I don't have an issue with solid food, and there's definitely like a time and place for solid food. However, we do need to remember that, okay, what are you going to eat and how are you going to eat it if you're on a mountain bike, okay? And that's really something that I wanted to like emphasize. So we spoke about like the importance of training and using like training as also training your nutrition. But one of the things that I found, especially mountain bike, is you also need to train how you actually gonna eat the food that you have. Because we've got a mountain bike, we're going on trails, there's rocks, there's trees, there's tight corners, the downhill, uphill. You don't want to spend a lot of time without hands on the handlebar. So the normal food in mountain bike are just finding a little bit trickier for people to have in terms of like how you're going to eat normal food while you're riding a mountain bike without crashing.
Yeah, because I say, because I've seen people crash doing that as well. And sometimes I'll say to beginners, pull over for like 30 seconds or a minute.
Yeah.
Get your Sambo in there, whatever you need to have as well, and then get on as well. Obviously, don't sit down and have a picnic with this view behind us or anything, but have your food and move on. It's better to stop, have something to eat, and then rather than crash, like you said.
Definitely. If you're not doing like an event and try to like, you know, you got a time that you want to do it in, or you not try to race or anything, there could definitely be options for you. Just stop, take a couple of minutes, you can get some food in, and then you keep going. You can stop at the aid station, or you can stop somewhere else. If you got food and you carry with you, there is not an issue. The only thing that I want to add with that, it's just that the type of normal food that you're going to have. So we know that we want to limit the amount of fiber that we have, both before the race and during the race. So just be mindful the type of carbohydrates that you are going to eat. So it needs to be something that it's very easy to digest, very low in fiber. So like white bread or something like that, or some lollies, or I don't know, some boiled potato I've seen. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go for, something that has like all grain bread or anything like that. Then it's quite high in fiber.
And then carrying, I see beside you as well, you've got one of these Camelback. I mean, I think they're a great idea. Use them in trail running a lot as well, but you can put everything in something like that.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, all right. So you do have a few options, I guess, when it comes to backpack, camera pack, how am I going to bring all my stuff and things like that. So something like that, this is actually like a running vest. Okay. And you've got like the big camera pack at the back. So this one, it's normally about like 2 liters. It's inside, and that comes with a straw. So very easy to reach because it sits at the front. And then you also have those 2 pockets at the front. And those ones are great because you can put like your nutrition in here if you need like anything else, like bike repair kit or anything like that. So I've actually just swapped this year to a running vest instead of just like the normal, like the more classic camo.
I want to yell out to Sarah in the background. We'll be able to hear. What do you use when you're on a bike? Do you use an
Usway, USWE.
But is it a vest like that, or is it like a?
No, it's a specially designed mountain bike pack.
Okay.
That has it doesn't have anything in the front, but it is like super secure.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no.
I'm not sure if she'll be able to hear that.
Yeah. So you definitely want something that has minimal movement. That's true. And I found, for example, I'm quite small in my upper body, so I found that I couldn't really find any mountain bike vest that fits me. And I had a running vest, and it's super tight, and I just like it because it has no movement. It's super light, and I just like the fact that I have the pocket at the front, I can kind of like very easily grab a gel from the front. But again, I mean, there's a lot of people that might go without a camel pack and just have the 2 bottle, especially the pro, that they're not gonna stay on the trails for as long as the normal population will. So they kind of like need to carry less things, I reckon. So they might just go with the 2 bottles, and they probably have the repair kit just on the bike,
and a few gels in there.
Gels in some pocket, like back pocket, or strap on the bike, or things like that. So you need to try what works for you, as long as you can reach your food. So if you decided to go with the camera pack and you put your food at the back, just think, how am I going to get the food out? So having maybe like some pockets. Now nowadays you've got some like bib shorts that come with like pockets on the side. I'm a fan of those ones as well, because they are just normal bib shorts. You got the pocket on the side, very easy to reach rather than go at the back.
And last question as well is just a quick tip about what they do after each day as well when they're doing the Cape to Cape. It's easy. There's some beautiful wineries we finish out. There's some pubs, everything like that as well. What's the best thing to do once they finish riding?
Yeah, so once you finish riding, so I know the temptation it's quite big to go in and get a beers, because a lot of the time like we're finishing like in breweries and stuff like that. Like, look, I'm gonna say again, if you know at the top of the game, you're a pro, go and enjoy a beer. That's fine. I'll probably say stick to one, not
Boring.
2 or 3.
Boring. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. So we want some carbohydrates and we want some protein as soon as we finish. So something then it's quite quick. It could be like even like something like a sandwich, for example, or like a burger. Something that has some bread, so you got some carbohydrates in there, and then some protein, some your lean meat or like plant-based protein or anything like that. But the combination of the two, so we replenish the carbohydrates that we've burned, and then we also get some protein, some amino acid to help us with like recovering and muscle recovery for the day after.
Makes sense. And if people want to get in contact with you directly, what's the best way so they can get a few extra tips and ideas and stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. So I do have my own business, so Body and Mind. So you can just find me on social media. It's just Virginia_Sergas and then Body and Mind. Or I do work for Valetudo, health and fitness. So we are just in Florida, and I do consultation in there. So dietetic, I work as a dietitian for them. So that's Valetudo.
Perfect. Thanks heaps, Virginia, for all your tips as well. And good luck at the Exterra Worlds.
Thank you.
And then we'll see you at Cape to Cape after that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah Tucknott. Here we are. 3rd in the country at the mountain bike national champs. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I did have a lot of expectation of myself. I've been training quite hard this year. I've started recently with a new coach, and it's been going really well. So I had high expectations. So I was happy to, put together a good performance. It was probably my most mature ride of the year so far. The course was extremely demanding. It was 83 kilometres with 2,700 metres of climbing through the Flinders Ranges in South Australia. And it was 98% single track.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
I mean, fantastic if you're a good mountain biker. This course was fantastic for mountain bikers because it was technical. There was single track, there was climbing, there was descending. It was honestly like a mountain biker's dream, especially if you're technically quite good. But it is unusual to have a marathon that has like pretty much no fire road in it. But it was just in the nature of where they were running it and the trails that they were running it on. So it made for an extremely interesting race. But because of the nature of the course and how demanding it was, I knew that I had to be way more conservative than I usually am in a race. Like, I've come from racing XCO, so like cross country Olympic, which is...
So do you want to just explain the difference between both?
Yeah, so there's XCO and XCM. So XCO, cross country Olympic, is as what they do in the Olympics. So it's an hour and a half, full gas, as hard as you can go for an hour and a half. And then an XCM, so a cross country marathon, is, generally it's sort of up to 100 kilometres. So events like Dwelling Up 100, Odyssey, those are the sorts of their marathons, so they're longer. And I've come from an XCO background, and I spent my whole childhood racing flat out, as hard as you can go. And you get to the finish line and you're absolutely empty. And that's generally how I've taken on most races now. And now that I'm racing some longer stuff, like this year I did Otway Odyssey 7 and Backroads, which are all really long events. And I did...
Let's talk about I just want to talk about Backroads because I'm one of your number one fans, you know that. But it's like I saw you finish Backroads and you went out and you basically went out on your own for 100+ kilometres in that. Serenely got you at the end. But you did exactly the opposite of what you seemed to do at the Nationals. You went out, you hung it out there. Unfortunately, got pipped at the end, but you were cooked at the end as well. So when I saw you came 3rd, I was like, she learned from the race a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the exact path that I was going down with this story is that at 7 and at Backroads, again, they're gravel races, so they are different from mountain bike marathons, but, we're still out there for the same length of time, 5.5 hours. And at both 7 and Backroads, I just took the race by the horn sort of thing and just went as hard as I could. And I lasted, 3 hours before things started to turn south because, but that's just who I am. I love going hard. I love being aggressive and racing with everything on the line.
Do you get that from your mum or your dad?
Oh, both.
It's funny because your mum was talking to your dad on here, was saying, your mum is so quiet and, in the background and everything, but he reckons once she puts a number plate on that bike, competitive.
Oh yeah, definitely she's got a competitive streak in her, and it's the same. You get in that racing mindset, and you can completely change as a person. You go, and Mum is a great example. She's this quiet, soft-spoken, lovely lady.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she gets a number plate on a bike, and she's just there for blood sort of thing, out for blood. She's
That's right. Another reason why I was so happy for you on the weekend was you've had some ups and downs, right? We saw you, and we'll touch on this, some illnesses as well, and then you kind of moved across to what we're speaking about on previous pods, onto sort of an Exterra kind of thing, and now you're coming back to your true love, which is on the mountain bike.
Yeah, for sure. And I was really pleased with my ride at Nationals because I learnt from every other race that I did this year and knew that I had to pocket my personality a little bit. I had to move away from being that XCO racer at heart and knew that I needed to conserve the energy to have a strong second half of the race because the course was so challenging. I didn't want to be absolutely cooked with still 2 hours out on course because there was so much single track and so much technicality in it that mentally it would have been very tough to make it through the race if you were cooked before.
Is it hard to let them go? Let the crew? I mean, for the personality like yours as well.
It was really hard. I watched Peter and Holly ride away within the first 10 Ks, and I mean both of them raced so amazingly, and I just had to hope that, given the nature of the course, maybe I could catch them if I raced my own race and conserved myself at the start. And yeah, so even though it didn't pan out that way, I didn't catch either Peter or Holly, but I was proud of myself for learning the lessons from the other races I've done this year, and also just pocketing that XCO personality a little bit and focusing on being a marathon rider.
Yeah, and learning quick as well from only a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? And I know when I interviewed you at the finish line, you said that. You said, I'll put it all out there. Maybe it may be a bit much at the time, and I'll learn from that. And you did as well, which is phenomenal. So now 3rd in the country, which is amazing. That's it. All the riches come with it. Is there much money in the sport?
No. No.
You're still working. You're full working as well. Full-time cycling.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm a registered nurse, but at the moment I'm working as a nurse researcher, which I am really, really enjoying. Whilst I would love to be a professional cyclist and only ride my bike all the time and, live in Europe and have an endless summer, I know for me it's also important to have another life outside of cycling, because I have experienced what it's like to not have cycling in my life or not be able to race. And in terms of personal fulfillment, yeah, it's really important to have something else going on in my life as well, and something that I can focus on that's not just riding a bike.
Yeah, otherwise it becomes really consuming, doesn't it? And you live and die by all your results and things like that as well. So, but I
Yeah.
reckon maybe a year in Europe would be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, some European experience would be pretty incredible. I think as a cyclist, it's almost like a rite of passage that you have to go and spend some time in Europe and race and learn what it's like in the real cycling world.
Exactly. And what about the Tucknott name? It's pretty famous in cycling. Is it? Do you feel that that sort of energy? Obviously, your brother's in extremely good cyclist as well, Reece as well. Your dad's, he got the gong from the king or the queen or whoever it is now as well. So, that's amazing as well, the OAM as well. So do you feel that pressure as a Tucknott, or is it just your family's so tight-knit? I kind of just think if everyone's family was that, the world would be in a better place.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that I got into riding bikes was because that I grew up watching mum and dad race triathlon and then get into mountain biking, and then restarted racing, and I guess I felt a little bit left out that I wasn't. So that it was just this natural progression, and I feel extremely privileged to be in a family like ours, being so close and having that shared interest of mountain biking. I don't feel pressure. If I decided tomorrow that I didn't want to ride a bike again, I'm sure mum and dad would be disappointed, but I know that they also wouldn't force me to keep riding a bike just because it's what we do, So I feel privileged to be in such a supportive family, but I also know that I can be my own person and I can do what I want. And honestly, mum and dad were really, really encouraging when we were younger and still in school to aspire to have something else to do beyond riding a bike. Whilst, especially Reece has been extremely successful as a cyclist.
Third in the country.
I have experienced what it's like to not be able to race and not have that, getting good results and racing well and training well. It's a massive source of self-esteem. And when you don't have that, it's really, really challenging if you don't also have something else in your life.
It can become your identity, can't it?
Exactly.
It can become Sarah the rider or whatever like that.
So,
and you don't want that.
And so whilst I feel like I keep saying it, I feel so privileged to be, to have mum and dad and Reece around me. But, I also
Was it a strict
feel...
upbringing? Because I've got a young child as well, and both you and Reece are some of the nicest humans I've ever met, and it's kind of like, if my son could become that, so it'll be amazing. Was it strict or was it fairly fluid? How were you brought up as kids?
I would say that it was stricter than some of my friends in terms of I don't really know.
It was just normal to you, I suppose.
It felt normal, and there was just always a shared interest in that. On the weekends, well, we're going to go and do this bike race, and all of us get to do something there. And whilst Reece is racing in that category, and I'm racing in that category, and mum and dad are doing this, we're there doing it together.
Yeah,
but we
nice.
all have our own sort of thing, our own part in that. And there was lots and lots of family bonding growing up. We drove multiple years in a row. We drove from here to Adelaide or here to Melbourne or wherever to race our bikes, because getting 4 people and 4 bikes across on a plane is pretty costly. So we did multiple long drives, lots, and yeah, to my friends, that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're doing that and you're going on all of these holidays and you're getting to do all this stuff. And it felt normal, like oh yeah, we're just going
Yeah,
to
it's
pop
cool.
over to Adelaide and
I reckon it's
race nationals, or pop over to Mount Buller and race nationals. Well, like, it felt normal, and it felt, but yeah, it was very cool.
I think what's interesting about your story as well is that it hasn't just been this, I don't know, the fancy word is linear up like this. But there's been massive ups and downs as well, as I touched on when we started chatting as well. You moved away into more the sort of off-road triathlon. You represented Australia at the Exterra. Did you enjoy doing that for a change?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, growing up, since I was an under 13, I raced cross country, so XCO. Every year I went to nationals. I went to track nationals as a kid, road nationals. I lived and breathed riding, lived and breathed racing throughout primary school, high school, and then out of school. And I represented Australia 3 times at XCO World Championships. And whilst I was at uni studying nursing, like, the riding was just everything I wanted. And I put everything into it. But I ended up, got really sick, ended up in a really big hole. And it took me 3 years to overcome the fatigue that came with, this virus. And so, yeah, I got post-viral, or I got chronic fatigue, and we didn't really know what it was, but sort of put it down to a virus and whatever. And didn't ride for 2020 and 2021. I didn't ride at all. 2022, I rode maybe once a week, did some club racing. And then I started to feel better by the end of 2022, but I had finished my degree and was starting to look into getting a full-time job as a nurse. And I was sort of hungry for something to do, but I wasn't ready to come back to full-time cycling, and my health wasn't ready for it. And I essentially fell into the opportunity to race Exterra. I had signed myself up to race the Eagle Bay Epic at the end of 2022, but I injured my elbow and I couldn't swim or paddle. So they rolled my entry over to Exterra Dunsborough for 2023, and I'm like, well, perfect. It'll be a great adventure. And that's really was what I was wanting. I wasn't ready to come back to full-time cycling. My health wasn't ready for it. And I've spent all my life riding bikes, and I thought it's the perfect opportunity to try something different. And I guess it's not super different because it still involves mountain biking, but it was it was a step out, a branch out for me to do the running and swimming as well. So I did Exterra Dunsborough 2023 and was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. And it was just a challenge, something I hadn't done. And, if you win with the way that Exterra works, if you win your age group at an Exterra qualifying event, then you qualify yourself for world champs. And I was the only one, I have to be honest here, I was the only one that actually finished my age group.
Who's in there?
I was the only one that finished in the age group in 2023, and I got the email like, oh, you qualified for world champs, and I was like, oh. And then I looked up where it was, and it was in Malvino, Italy, and I was like,
is that where it is? Virginia? Yeah.
And I was like, I said to my partner Jake, I was like, we have to go. Like, look at this. I just showed him a photo of the lake and the area that was in, and honestly, I didn't really train much that year. I made it through purely based off of being able to ride a bike well, and yeah. And then 2024, I was like, yeah, Exterra is fun. I want to keep doing this. And I went to used it as opportunities to go on holidays. Went to Rotorua and raced one, went to Japan and raced one, and it was really cool. But and then I went to Exterra World Champs last year again, also in Malvino, because it's just the nicest. It's just such a beautiful place. But me and running didn't really gel very well, and I injured my knee falling off the bike in Italy, and I injured my knee and I couldn't run for 12 weeks, and I got to the end of 12 weeks and was like, I didn't miss running.
Yeah.
So it's probably a sign. And mentally at the end of last year, I was really ready to get back into cycling properly, and
it's perfect.
And my health is a lot better, and so it's just the road to this point has not been easy at all, but I am grateful for the lessons that I've learned.
Write a book on it.
I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned, and the person that it shaped me into. Like, I'd say that I'm a much more well-rounded and well-adjusted person emotionally now than what I was prior to having chronic fatigue. So
yeah, it's a journey that you needed to be on, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. So just the final question as well. Obviously, third in the country. What's next? There's always, it's a boring question, but what's next?
Well, Dwelling Up 100 is in a few weeks, and that's actually the Oceania Championships for marathon. So the continental champs. So I will race that and have some high aspirations for how I may go. And I mean, Dwelling Up's an extremely important / special event for me as well, because it's Dad's event, and it was his idea and his brainchild. And I've never actually raced the 100K event at Dwelling Up. I haven't raced an event at Dwelling Up for like maybe
I think
8-10
we commentated
years
together like last year or something.
Yeah, so it will be great. And then Cape to Cape as well, obviously in October.
Be a good one.
Will be a great one.
All right, congratulations again. I mean, we're so proud of everyone here in WA and Australia. So well done on the bronze medallion. You don't have it anywhere, do you?
No, I didn't bring it with me. Sorry.
Anyway, that's fine. All right, good luck, and we'll see you at Cape to Cape,
Thanks.
Sarah. Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
Bill Hayes, part owner of Cape to Cape. How's it going, mate? We just really want to just have a recap on how all the setup's going. We're only I'm not sure when this is going to be aired, but we're probably 6 to 8 weeks away from the Cape to Cape. How's it all looking?
Yeah, looking great. Thanks for being here as well, Robbie. Thanks for being involved. I'm not going to bore you like I did on the first one, so we'll be short and sweet. Things progressing. A few new initiatives this year that we're now able to launch and chat through, which is good. But, obviously the logistics of an event this big is ongoing forever. But that window gets smaller and smaller really fast, and a bit like people trying to train, we're now flat out trying to get things in place.
Yeah, and you're talking about initiatives as well. It looks like the Wednesday evening now. Obviously, the 4-day event starts on the Thursday, but some new things happening on the Wednesday night before in Margaret River.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not the first time. I think we're just bringing back a pre-event activation. The Shire Margaret River Augusta are so supportive of the event that they're really keen to do something in town, because obviously we disappear out into the trails at various locations. So two things going on there. First is the Cape Kids Ride, which is open for all kids, pretty much anyone under 18. That'll start straight after school on the Wednesday night. We've created a course, thanks to Brooksy, right from, it's called Nippers Oval, which is right in town. There's some trails for them to experience. There's the BMX track to use and some grass stuff on the ovals. And that'll evolve around our rider pickup rego area as well, which should be cool. So it's primarily targeted for the local kids. Any bike you'll get through, bike and a helmet, enter online, come down and join the Cape to Cape experience.
So if any of the adults are coming down to the 4 days, they've got their kids, they're more than welcome to join. How far is the distance?
2-part. So, look, we're going to run on time because obviously the variety of abilities. So it'll be a 15 to 20-minute ride for 3 different age categories. I suspect some of the kids as young as 6 are allowed to ride. They'll probably only get 1 lap in. I'm sure once we get into the 16, 17-year-olds, they'll be trying to show everyone, including us, how good they are. They'll be flat out as they do. But, yeah, great for kids of those who are parents who are riding the week, but also really good for the local community, hopefully.
And I've heard rumours through the grapevine as well about a prologue or something like that. Tell us a bit more about that. Who's involved? Is it just for the elite? Is it for everyone?
Yeah, look, so that'll start. The kids will be the first thing. They'll go from sort of 4 to 5 o'clock, and then again we're going to invite our 15 top open males and top open females to come and have a bit of a fun, and we're going to put on a relay race. So, bit of a unique concept. They'll have to ride 3 laps each of the 2.5K course. And how they tactically do that will be up to them. The transition changeover will be similar to a triathlon. They'll have to dismount, come into the transition area, hand over the baton, whatever that may be, to their partner, and off they go. But the big spin on it is you won't know who your partner is till 10 minutes before the start because we're going to draw them out the hat.
Perfect. So, but that doesn't have any repercussions or anything on the race the next day. This is just a fun come and meet you, all the pros, that type of thing.
Only positive repercussions. So what we're going to do is the winning pair will take away $1,000.
Ooh.
So, pretty good hourly rate because this will take about 25 minutes. And they'll also start day one in the leaders' jerseys. So we'll present male-female leader jersey to the pair that win, and that'll be then. So, what may happen, we may get someone who's nowhere near in contention for the event, but because they pulled the right name out of the hat, they end up winning, and they're on the start line for day one in a yellow jersey. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, it will be cool as well because it sort of mixes up. It'll have those guys and girls that are good at sprinting as well. They'll have that chance to.
Yeah, and tactically, do you go just 1 lap at a time and change over 3 times, or do you go for 3? Just go 3 each? Do you go female first, male first? All those things, they've got 10 minutes to decide, and then we're on. So should be good.
I reckon it's a great initiative as well, and the courses are all looking good. I mean, it's wet down there as well, so there's still a lot of work to do. It's
been really wet, but the course team that we've got is amazing. They're into it already, but yeah, there's a fair bit of work to do. The trails themselves are in good condition. There's just been a lot of branches and trees and those sorts of things. So we have really good support and help from DBCA in Western Australia, and they come out and will assist us with the big stuff, but our team will go in and clear the smaller items. So the chainsaws, the blowers, all those things are going to get a good workout from this point onwards, really.
And entries, if people still want to get involved in Cape to Cape, still want to enter, entries are still open. And can we just touch before we go as well on that, the 1 day, if people just want to race the 1 day as well? I think
so entries definitely still open for the 4-day or the 1 day event. And the 1 day event this year will be brought, so the Cape to Cape Mini is brought to you by a new sponsor, Caravans WA. They're in Maddington, so give them a quick plug while we're here. They've just come on board recently. They see the advantages of our audience. You're looking at the demographics as people who like exploring, so they'll have a couple of caravans on display, but that's Saturday. Just explain that. They do the whole course. It's not a mini shortened version. It's a mini attachment to Cape. Come and see what we do. Come and see, it's at CBECO Brewery. Come and enjoy lunch after, a couple of bevies, watch some of the elite race, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative, and I saw it work really well last year as well. If you're a bit nervous about doing 4 days, it's a nice just to dip the toe in.
Yeah, exactly. So it targets those people who aren't sure, but also it allows the local community to come and do a day, because a lot of people down there are busy. They can't get the extra days off they need to do the 4. They can come and experience our event in some trails that a lot of them know, so they're actually quite quick on that day as well, which is good.
Yeah, perfect. All right, good luck with the rest of the lead up, Bill. We might chat before. If not, we'll see you at Cape to Cape. Don't forget, folks, if you do want to get involved, go to the website, Cape to Cape, stick it in your search engines.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much. I hope you all enjoyed that episode as well. It was fantastic to hear from Virginia, hear from Sarah as well, and those initiatives from Bill. I think they're going to be top notch as well, and a great addition as well. But don't forget about that Pure Nutrition Cape to Cape Pure as well for all your discounts.